stuff is so good. Oh. You know what's fascinating about beef jerky is that on its own, beef is perishable, meaning that it has to be refrigerated or it'll go bad. And even then, it only lasts a short time. But going through the process of being dried and salted preserves it. Sorry. Jesus told a similar story in Matthew chapter 5 in his famous Sermon on the Mount, aka his answer to this question, how do I get the good life? He said, you are the salt of the earth. But if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. That's Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. See, salt is a preservative. It takes what is perishable and it turns it into, well, in this case, beef jerky. But Jesus wasn't just hungry. He was saying that God's long-preserved promises were being fulfilled in him. That from the beginning, God has been working to rescue the world from the powers of sin and death that ruin God's good creation. And Jesus is leading the people back into the good life, like he created in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. And Jesus says that those who follow him are those people. So we would expect the powerful and the rich and the influential to be the ones that Jesus recruits for this kingdom, right? Well, listen to what Jesus says are the preserved people of the promise. He says, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger, not for beef jerky, but for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. So they persecuted the prophets who were before you. See, for Jesus, the old way of the world, where the good life, the hashtag blessed, get their way through violence and corruption and riches, that's coming to an end. A new way, a good life way, a way back to the Garden of Eden where God created everything and saw that it was good, is found when you set aside looking for happiness and money, when you have strength but choose not to use it for violence to rule over others, when you hunger for righteousness and that becomes even deeper than your hunger for breakfast, when your mercy is your reaction over revenge, when your heart seeks God, not just your outward behaviors, when you bring peace into places where people are living in brokenness, and even when you face pushback and bullying or persecution because of this way you are living, you are blessed. For Jesus, the good life isn't about getting everything I want, but the good life is preserved in a people who follow the way of Jesus. So what about you? Will you look for the good life by chasing the things of the world that can never save you from the power of sin and death? Or will you follow the ways of Jesus? And will you find in him the life you were created for?